You are tuned into the Literacy Hour with Test Taking Solution and your host, Dr. Kentrell Liddell, MD, MBA. The purpose of this show is to help mitigate health disparities, improving literacy related to health, economics, and education. For all your professional development, professional management, and educational support services needs, contact Test Taking Solution, where we're igniting success. Located at 2104 Thousand Oaks Drive in Jackson, Mississippi. Literacy is knowledge and knowledge is power. Thank you for joining the Literacy Hour. Well, I'd like to say good morning to everyone. Love you too, Brother Michael Thompson. Thank you so much for joining in, and everyone else too for tuning into the Literacy Hour, where you receive relevant, up-to-date, accurate information to enhance your literacy and mind. I just believe that when we are better informed, we can make better informed decisions. And when we learn better, we now have the opportunity to do better. I want you to take Mr. Jones, for example. That's Mr. Sherry Jones. He's really learned how to handle that radio in Brother DJ Larry Armstrong's absence. He's standing in a mighty way. Let us keep him lifted up in prayer, and let us keep praying for Brother Armstrong and his wife and family as they stand watch at the bedside of their son, again, who is in hospice. And so I know they will appreciate us standing in the gap with them. And my caller, who said it earlier this morning on WMPR 90.1 FM, he got it right. He said, God is in control. And I'm in total agreement with him. And so we just have to keep looking to the hill from whence cometh our help. And we know, those of us who are Christians, that our help comes from the Lord. Those of you who are not, then your help comes from where it comes from. I certainly respect your views, but as for me and my house, we will worship Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. And so that's who I'm trusting to continue to hold up Brother Armstrong, his wife, his family. WMPR, WGDQ, and all of our affiliate stations, wherever they may be across this great state of Mississippi. We greatly appreciate our underwriters because they just don't have to do it. We thank God for Copaya Ministerial Alliance. They're down in Copaya, but man, they have tentacles, it appears to me, to be everywhere. I look around, somebody is able to take a group of folks to vote because of a van they're able to get ran out from Copaya Ministerial Alliance. They're just all over the place ministering. And that's what we really need, true ministers, folks that really want to help. And so Copaya Ministerial Alliance, this morning, I just want to say thank you again for underwriting our show. Good eating over in Byram, Mississippi. I've told you about it many times, and I hope by now that if you've driven through Byram, you have gone over there and just tested some of the food. It's addictive now, so just be careful, but it's good eating. And I suppose that's where they get the title from. And Dixon's Body Shop, thank you for underwriting the show. It is that time of year, and I'm hoping that people will visit to get their vehicles checked, weatherized, etc. You know all those words. I know medicine, I know business. I don't know anything much about a vehicle other than how to put the gas and stuff in there. But Dixon's Body Shop, they handle the rest for us. I learned on Friday, October 31st, 2025, that the FDA has recalled a blood pressure medication. And now up front in any one of our episodes, I always want our listening audience to be informed about recalls. Yeah, I don't want you to make a mistake and take something that has been recalled. And so the FDA has recalled a blood pressure medication. I want to make sure you know about it. Um, and remember that the FDA, that's the Food and Drug Administration. They say drug makers have recalled more than 500,000 bottles of the blood pressure medication Prazosin. That's Prazosin. Prazosin. Now, the whole medical word probably on your bottle is Prazosin hydrochloride, but just know we call it Prazosin for short. So that medication has been recalled, and recalls always happen for a reason now. And the reason it's being recalled is because it has been found to include a cancer causing chemical. Yeah, New Jersey based Teva Pharmaceuticals and drugs distributor Source Health Services issued a voluntary nationwide recall just earlier this month, but I didn't find out about it now until Halloween, October 31st. And it wasn't a prank, it wasn't a trick, it is the truth. And that's what we love sharing here on the Literacy Hour is the truth, okay? And so now, if you have a bottle of this Prazosin, just don't take it. I want you to know that you need to set it aside. Call your doctor, your nurse practitioner, or your physician assistant, whoever your health provider might be, whoever prescribed that medication. Tell them that you're setting it to the side now because you have heard that the medication has been recalled. Doctors prescribe Prazosin, just so you know now. Again, it's for blood pressure. And the way it acts is it relaxes the blood vessels. And when our blood vessels are relaxed, our blood pressure tends to lower. It also is sometimes prescribed for nightmares and other sleep disturbances caused by post traumatic stress disorder. These are all conditions that you'll hear about if you stay locked and loaded into the Literacy Hour. We have health literacy on second Tuesday. You hear about hypertension or high blood pressure. You sometimes hear about some medications. We teach about those as well. And then on fourth Tuesdays, Mental Health and Wellness Tuesday, you'll hear about sleep disturbances, post-traumatic stress disorder. And anyone can have it, but I tend to see several of our veterans, and again, I just can't even say the word veteran without feeling a huge wealth of gratitude for those who put their lives on the line to ensure the security of our country and of each of our households. I thank God for our veterans. I come from a military family, and my son is military, and I just thank God for our troops. So let's keep them lifted up. But if you have praises in now, like I said, set it aside. Last Tuesday, which was fourth Tuesday, our mental health and wellness Tuesday here on the Literacy Hour, I did promise you that I would begin today's show with sharing something that we just didn't have time to talk about before the show ended last Tuesday. Again, it was Mental Health and Wellness Tuesday, and I wanted to mention to you that the Education Department is bringing back the mental health grants. As a matter of fact, they've already brought them back. That's the Education Department. So I guess it is appropriate even for today, which is our Education Literacy Day. Yeah, I'm going to talk about all things education. And boy, do we have a packed show this morning. So you want to stay tuned, however you possibly can. And if you have to get out and go on in and clock in and be at work, then you might want to catch the part that you missed by subscribing to our YouTube channel. And that YouTube channel is Test Taking Solution Foundation. You can find the channel and subscribe to it. Thank you to all of those who've already done so. You're able to keep up with us and know when we're on the air. Education Department brings back mental health grants. The agency issued some new priorities for the funding after they had canceled the grants for not aligning with President Trump's priorities. So, just in brief, the United States Department of Education will begin accepting grant applications for $270 million across two programs aimed at boosting student mental health. And those grants were controversially canceled last spring, and they're going to bring them back. The Education Department had axed that funding, and the two programs are the school based Mental Health Services Grant Program and the Mental Health Service Professional Demonstration Grant Program. Those two are coming back. So it's wonderful when the administration can look at something and determine that, you know what, we made a mistake and we have to correct it. I love that. I love when any of us and all of us realize that we've made a mistake, or that maybe a law or something has an unintended consequence. It needs to be rectified. It needs to be corrected. It needs to be fixed. And it's not going to get fixed on its own. We need leaders and leadership. And that's what we'll be voting for today. And those of you who are eligible to vote and can vote in the elections that are going on this morning, we strongly urge you to exercise your right. You don't miss it until you lose it. And that's about true with anything else. So preserve it, cherish it. The right to vote is such a precious right, and is one that people fought and died for. And so let us practice what we hear preached and what a lot of us preach. That is important for us to vote. Where we ought to see you at the polls voting today. The weather is nice. It's nice outside, a little chilly, just like Brother Jones said earlier. But hey, put on a nice little jacket, or hey, wear a blanket if you need to. I don't care what you put on to stay warm. Just get to the polls. So the Education Department has brought back those grants. A lot more details affiliated with that, but just know that the money is back, and they're going to expect to award between 25 and 35 grants averaging $1.5 million each for the school-based mental health services program. So I really hope that some school districts in our state apply for that money, or maybe the Mississippi Department of Education will apply for it and then divvy it out through certain processes to the districts. But the money is back. Also, the new award for the Mental Health Service Professional Demonstration Grant is funded at $90 million. So they're expecting to give out about 18 to 24 awards with an average grant of $1 million. Now, that's the word from the U.S. Department of Education. All right. I did what I told you I was going to do. Why? Because I'm a woman of my word. If I tell you I'm going to do something, then you can just go ahead and go to bed, and when you wake back up, it's done. Okay. I'm going to do it. Today is education literacy here on the Literacy Hour. Now we're in November, and that's traditionally designated for awareness of many causes with key health observances, including American Diabetes Month, Lung Cancer Awareness Month, COPD, which stands for Chronic Obstructive Pulmonary Disease. Don't worry about that, okay? Many of us just call it COPD. But it's also November set aside to raise awareness about that condition, as well as pancreatic cancer and prematurity. Okay. Additionally, I learned that it's also National Native American Heritage Month. Just a time to recognize the history and the cultures of Native Americans and Alaskan Natives. They're our brothers and sisters too. And so I'm glad that there's time set aside to recognize their history and culture. Since diabetes greatly affects many communities in our state, and we could focus on that, but I think that there is already a lot being done to raise awareness about pre-diabetes and diabetes. Let me just say this: know your hemoglobin A1C. And some people um, like to call it the sugar. Well, it's related to your sugar, but it gives us a better idea of how your sugar has been controlled over the prior 3 months before it was tested. So test that hemoglobin A1C. If you do not know what it is, just ask your doctor to teach you about hemoglobin A1C the next time you visit with him or her. I think for this month, I'm going to focus on lung cancer, then COPD, then pancreatic cancer on the next episodes of the Literacy Hour, starting next Tuesday, which is set aside for health literacy. So we'll discuss lung cancer. Then on third Tuesday, we'll discuss COPD and tell you how it ties to financial literacy, because that's what we tend to focus on third Tuesdays. Then on fourth Tuesday, we'll discuss pancreatic cancer and the impact it has on mental health and wellness. And that's what we usually discuss on fourth Tuesday. So in keeping with our schedule, those are the things that we'll observe, the topics that we'll discuss and raise awareness about this month. I want you to follow Test Taking Solution on Facebook at TT Solution LLC and on Instagram at the same handle. We see that we have several folks who have joined us and are now following. We thank you so much for that. Um, it's a lot. My heart is full this morning. The call-in number is 601-714-8378. You know, at Test Taking Solution, we encourage our scholars to expand their vocabulary. And so this morning on the Literacy Hour, as we do every first Tuesday, Education Literacy Tuesday, we define a word. And last first Tuesday, we defined the word abridge, and it means to shorten, to condense, to diminish. And I'm sure many of you remember the meaning, but a bridge, an abridged bridge. I just think of a short bridge when I think of the word abridge. For this morning, the word of the day is abstruse. Abstruse. Hard to understand. And for some folks, that's hard to pronounce. But the word abstruse means hard to understand. It's an adjective. It describes something. And it's spelled ABSTRUSE. So let's try using the word abstruse today. It's going to be hard for me to understand if a poll runs out of anything today. I'm going to say that was very abstruse for me. That was hard for me to understand. It's just an abstruse situation if we end up running out of some stuff at these polls today. It just should not happen. We should be ready to go and ready to meet people where they need to be met, to look at the IDs or whatever it is they have to look at and let folks vote. So I link the word abstruse to the word moose. And I think about, a little cute sentence. Our scholars, they know. I know some of you are listening in. You will tell me when you see me this evening. But his friends consider Mike, the moose, to be very abstruse. You see that? Mike, the moose, is very abstruse, because it's hard to understand a moose, especially one that's talking. Now, you get a talking moose, and we got some other issues, okay? We already got monkeys. Well, let me just leave that alone. But the moose is very abstruse. Chemistry. Chemistry is an abstruse subject for many students. It's a hard to understand subject for many students, but we can help them with that. I know if they attend Tougaloo College or any of our HBCUs, Mississippi State, I got to throw them in there, Hale State. But they will understand chemistry and understand it well. Chemistry is an abstruse subject, hard to understand. The scientists had many abstruse theories about atomic interactions. You see, we can use that word abstruse as an adjective. Elizabeth's directions to the party were very abstruse. Okay? They were very hard to understand. And so, if we practice using the word abstruse to mean hard to understand, then we'll get better at understanding the definition of abstruse. The word of the day, abstruse. 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 Practice may not make us perfect, but it does make us better. So when you learn a new word, I want you to practice using it. Literacy is knowledge, and knowledge is power. And I'm so glad that you tuned into the Literacy Hour. Representative Summers and Chairman Kareem, Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus, they've been working hard. So has Brother Sherry Jones. I truly believe a lot of things would not be moving or happening without his advocacy and his working behind the scenes, and many times in front of the scenes as well. But we should be very grateful and very thankful for people who are so selfless and decide that, I'm old enough and I've been through enough and I've learned enough to know how to do, what to do, when to do. We just ought to be thankful for those people. I refer to them as being wise. And so thank you, Brother Sherry Jones. Thank you, Representative Summers, Chairman Kareem, and the Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus for advocating for us. I really appreciate how Chairman Kareem starts all of their work with prayer. I've told you that to solve any problem, I found that we need 3 key components. We need prayer, the right experts at the table that includes people with lived experiences. You can't legislate and talk about things for folks without folks. You must have folks with lived experiences, and that's exactly what the Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus did on last Thursday. And they ended the entire hearing with somebody speaking who had lived experience about this maternal health crisis that we find ourselves in. It was powerful. And if you missed it, you certainly missed an informative session. But that's also why you tune into the Literacy Hour, because you probably halfway knew I was going to bring you up to speed anyway. And I appreciate doing so. They brought experts to the table. That's right. See, you have to know when you don't know everything, and you have to get the experts. I'm not trying to paint a house. I'm not trying to repair a roof. I don't know anything about that stuff. I'm calling the experts. And so the Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus wanted to get it right. They didn't want to mince words. They didn't want to mess up the statistics or the knowledge of the medicine behind what's going on. So they brought in some experts. Now, those are not the only experts. I want to be crystal clear, because every physician that works out here and has done the work in these communities, all of them are experts in their own right when it comes to taking care of mothers and would-be mothers. They're all experts. When you have had to be in the trenches with folks experiencing pregnancy complications, and you've helped them to get to the other side of that, you have some expertise. So we heard from some of our key experts, and I want to thank the Legislative Black Caucus for the hearing that they held to hear from these experts about our maternal health crisis right here in our state, and to learn more about the public health emergency. Yes, we've been raising the alarm ever since our Chief Health Officer, Dr. Daniel Etney, issued the public health emergency back in August. And here we are in November. And the 2025 statistics have not even come out. But I bet you Dr. Etney has an idea of how they're looking, which is what made him most likely go ahead and issue the emergency last August. Yes, be crystally clear that the statistics we are riding on right now are those from 2024. Babies are still dying in 2025. And we don't even know the number yet. Oh, but just wait. The numbers are coming out. You see, the CDC can't report anything. CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, can't report anything without the states providing them the information. So our state, Mississippi State Department of Health, you know, I love that department. They don't ask me to say this. I love them because I'm just so impressed by how they keep us informed. Visit their website, msdh.ms.gov, and see, won't you fall in love with them too? msdh.ms.gov. You'll learn more than you want to learn about the condition of our state as far as health is concerned. They're on the wall. And they're trying to make sure that we are informed and educated about how we can reverse these troubling trends. WMPR has been playing a wonderful ad. All week I've heard it, mentioning the numbers, the more than 3,500 deaths. It's 3,527 infants have died since 2014. They've been mentioning that 9.7 number. That's our average infant mortality rate. Okay, 9.7 infant deaths per 1,000 live births. But in the African American community, the number is 15.2. You see, Black babies just dying, and there hasn't been an alarm raised until now. In August, that is, by Dr. Etney, the chief health officer. And so all things should come to a halt for us to find out why. And for those of us who work in the field, for those of us who've been around, we have a lot of ideas of why. And if you attended the Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus hearing last Thursday, you now know why. I know I saw Sister Gloria McCune, the sister of the late Dr. Frank McCune there. She's a co-host of the Health and Prosperity Show. Man, when I got in the room, I saw her beautiful face. And I was just so happy that she could have been anywhere last Thursday morning, but decided that she would be there. I invite y'all to listen to the Health and Prosperity Show on Tuesday evening. They come on Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. And if I'm wrong, Michael, call in because, hey, I'm always tuned in. So when you come on, you just on. So, but I say just stay locked and loaded. My goodness, the WNPR. You'll get a wealth of information. But Tuesday evenings, and Sister Gloria was there. She understood the gravity of this situation. She understands that we cannot lie down in Mississippi, where Black residents make up approximately 37.8% of the population, about 1.1 million people, yet Black physicians comprise less than 10% of the doctors. You see, I'm giving you that statistic because what I learned, and I shouldn't even say learn, I should say reviewed or was reminded of, because I already knew it, was that some healthcare providers don't listen well to Black patients. I said it and it's true, and I can help you walk it down if we have another panel discussion. Yeah. And so when it comes to maternal mortality, women dying, pregnant women dying, even one of the experts who spoke, Dr. Keisha Bell Catchings, she shared a story during the hearing. And some of you may have experienced this, and that's why I give you the call-in number, because I want to hear about it if you have. 601-714-8378. I want to know if you can identify with this story that Dr. Keisha Bell Ketchens told during the hearing. She said it's a story of a Black obese patient who had visited the ER repeatedly with the complaint of shortness of breath. The lady just was short of breath. Dr. Bell listened to her and she did not send her home. The lady had been sent home over and over again, saying it's just this or it's just that. The patient was educated, though. You see, she serves as a respiratory therapist. Dr. Bell's workup led to a more thorough workup, which then led to the diagnosis of a pulmonary embolus, a PE. Now, had that woman returned home, there's a huge chance that she would have died. I've had very similar experiences in my own practice of medicine. I will never forget a little girl who came with her mom late in the evening to my clinic. I had never met them before, but they were referred. And the mom's complaint was they keep sending her home saying she has an ear infection, but something is not right, Dr. Liddell. I keep telling them that I don't think it's an infection, but they won't listen to me. I was listening to her while I was yet examining her daughter. I walked into the room. I took one look at her daughter and I saw her malaligned eyes. And I already halfway knew, because of the exceptional training I received at the University of Iowa College of Medicine, the exceptional family medicine residency program I attended at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. I already knew that there was something ominous going on behind those eyes. I took one look inside of that little girl's ear and there was a fungating mass. I immediately backed back from her, made her very comfortable, and asked Mom if I could just see her for a moment in private. And we talked about what I thought was going on. And then I called my good friend, Dr. Cannon, an ENT doctor who had trained me. And see, some of us have some phone numbers in our phone, that we can call. As a matter of fact, Dr. Michelle Owens told another story during the hearing about her own personal challenges, health-wise, and how, but for phone numbers that she had in her phone of colleagues, she gathered her own team together. And she did well. The outcome was desirable. Well, because of my connection with Dr. Cannon, and he knew if Kentrell is calling me, it's not for something that's of no good. If she's calling me, she needs me. So whatever he was doing, Dr. Cannon stopped it and he picked up the phone. And I told him, I described what I had just seen and heard, and he told me to send her over there now. Send her to the hospital right now. I'm at River Oaks. And I'll never forget Dr. Cannon for that. He's retired now and gone on. I tell you, that man is one of my best mentors in life. ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor, otolaryngologist. But he took that baby immediately to surgery. The child had cancer. So we have these stories. That one's not the only one. The one Dr. Keisha Bell Ketchens is not the only one. Man, we have so many of these stories. It is unreal. And I'm just so glad that when it comes to maternal health, somebody has finally perked up and started paying attention. Because it makes no sense whatsoever for Mississippi to have one of the highest maternal death rates in the country. The testimony of the expert witnesses is that Black women are 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes. Now, it's no way that pregnancy should be a death sentence. Come on now. And many mothers, they work hard, but they still lack paid leave, affordable child care, and fair pay. Stress can kill. And when you're pregnant, things just tend to be more hyper, if you will. And we just don't need all of that stress on a pregnant mother. When moms struggle, Mississippi struggles. And put another way, healthy moms build healthy communities. Women are important. That's how all of us got here. And then some of us don't want to listen to them. Make it make sense for me. You want to listen to them in the bed. You want to listen to them. Let me listen. Listen to the women when they say they're hurting, that something is wrong. And if you get a patient returning to you 2 and 3 and 4 times, look deeper, look further, go further. Thank God that Dr. Bill Catchings did just that for that patient who was complaining of shortness of breath. You already heard that the Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus held that hearing on Thursday. Well, you may not have heard that they turned around on Friday and held a panel discussion about Voting Rights Act. And I attended that. Today is election day for special elections all over Mississippi and other parts of the country too. We're still battling voting attacks, disenfranchisement. Folks have completed their sentences, but you're saying that you're going to accept their tax money, but you're not going to let them vote. Make it make sense. It's just mean. It's just cruel. It's downright dirty. It doesn't make sense. Okay? Disenfranchisement after somebody has repaid their dues makes no sense whatsoever. My Bible says none is perfect. No, not one. Not one. You just ain't got caught. Okay? And so we have to be a people who extends grace in this way. Folks ought to automatically get their voting rights back. But we know what the real deal is. That's why there are some initiatives underway right now to dilute certain areas so certain votes won't be the majority. Well, the Voting Rights Act, you all, is under attack, and it's more than a piece of legislation. It's about having every voice being heard. Your voice matters. That's why I hope you're rolling on out of the bed to get to the poll and vote if there is an election being held in your area, in your city. Thank you, Noxubee County. I appreciate that. Yep, I know you all hear us way up there in North Mississippi. You can hear us all over the world if you have an internet connection. And I'm glad about it. I asked the question at the panel discussion held by the Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus, and Mr. Harness, Representative Harness was or maybe he's a senator, I'm not sure. That was my first time ever hearing from him, but he did a wonderful job facilitating that panel discussion. Man, wow. Y'all, we have some great legislators, very knowledgeable, professional. They get down to business, okay? And so I posed a question. What steps can be taken to improve African-American voter apathy? This lack of interest on the part of Black voters in participating in the political process. What steps can we take? And have any of these steps been taken in the past? And if so, what were the outcomes? Now, that was a 3-part question, so you know they only dealt with the first part. What steps can be taken, right? But I really, truly want to know, have any steps been taken in the past to curb our apathy, our lack of interest, to get out to vote? I know I've heard it all. I'm out here in the street just like you all. I know, some of you say, hey, it doesn't matter anyway, Dr. Liddell. I mean, my little vote, they're going to do what they want to do anyway. Listen, y'all. I'm so glad that I am one who can tell you that the number matters. When we vote in numbers, we can make a difference. Yes, your vote is part of the number. We need it. Dr. Ori of Jackson State University responded to the question I posed. He said that he had asked the same question years before, and his mentor jumped all over him, saying that first of all, people need to be educated. You see, you can't curb apathy, you can't curb the lack of interest until folks are better educated about the importance of their vote. Some folks just truly don't understand. Your vote is your power. Some people just don't know that. If you missed either of those events, I implore you to stay tuned to the Literacy Hour because we will continue to provide you with helpful resources to enhance your literacy and to mitigate health disparities. Also, stay tuned to the Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus website. You can subscribe to their social media channels and get important updates. Man, I'm more engaged with them now than ever before because I didn't see them. You know, just tell the truth. And I don't know if you saw, I didn't see them. I would hear the word Black Caucus and I didn't, but man, what I saw last Thursday, they can get it done. The Mississippi Black Caucus website, MS Black Caucus, CAUCUS.com. That's their website. And I want you to, go there, visit it, see what kind of initiative they have going on. Here's what I also want to say. The math will math, you all, if more Blacks get out to vote. Now, for those of you who are white and you're not voting, I encourage you to vote too. But right now, we got a major voter apathy situation in the Black community, and that's why I'm talking to my brothers and sisters, okay? For those people who do not like it, you tune into another show. The point I'm trying to make is that we have to vote. Right now, we have a lot of voter apathy in the Black community. What will it take to get folks who are eligible to vote out to the polls? We should not have to be paid to go vote. We shouldn't have to be fed to go vote. If you need a ride, call a friend. Call your pastor. I heard we got over 600 churches in the surrounding area. 600. I guarantee you call a pastor. If the pastor cannot help you directly, I bet you they'll arrange a ride for you. That's why it's important to have a church family, a church home. Just as important as it is to have a medical home. You got to have a home. Okay, and then somebody sent me a great note, and I love when y'all talk back to me. Thank you so much. Somebody said, Dr. Liddell, listen, another reason folks don't vote is we got a lot of losers running. Wow. You're calling the folks who are courageous enough to put their lives on Front Street, you call them losers? Don't do that. That's not nice. And I would venture to say, if you think they're losers, then why don't you run? Why don't you run, whoever you are? Thank you for your note. I appreciate it. Keep it coming because, hey, I'm pretty transparent. I'm going to put it out there. And if you really want to talk about it, call in. The number to call is 601-714-8378. We can talk about it. Chairman Kareem and the Legislative Black Caucus wrote a letter to our governor, and it deserves to be read on air on this Education Literacy Tuesday because it was very well written and it might have a word or two that I can define. The letter they wrote, though, was about SNAP. Now, I'm waiting on the letter. Maybe they got another letter about this maternal health crisis, and I just ain't got a hold of that letter yet, but I hope they got a letter. Because listen, SNAP is extremely important, don't get me wrong. But if you don't have a baby to feed because the baby died doing at some point before that first birthday, then SNAP ain't gonna matter. But there was a letter written to the governor by our Legislative Black Caucus, a state of emergency declaration or a special session to protect the SNAP beneficiaries. It reads, Dear Governor Reeves, I hope this letter finds you well. I'm writing you on behalf of concerned constituents regarding imminent risk to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as SNAP, beneficiaries in Mississippi. Recent data and projections indicate that a significant number of Mississippians, potentially up to 400,000 individuals, may experience disruptions in their SNAP benefits. Of particular concern, 58% of SNAP recipients are children and elderly individuals who are most vulnerable to food insecurity. Additionally, 38% of recipients live in households with at least one working member, underscoring that many families are already contributing through work while facing ongoing economic challenges. Given the potential for widespread hardship among families, seniors, and children, we respectfully request your consideration of declaring a state of emergency to mobilize resources and coordinate relief efforts for SNAP beneficiaries, or calling a special session of the Mississippi Legislature to urgently address SNAP-related funding, administrative processes, and any policy adjustments needed to prevent benefits interruptions. The primary objective of any action would be to ensure continued access to nutritious food for the most vulnerable Mississippians and to provide clear, timely information and support to families navigating the SNAP system during this period of potential disruption. All options must be explored. We recognize the many demands of your office and the state budget. However, ensuring that no Mississippian faces hunger due to gaps in SNAP delivery is a critical public health and humanitarian priority. Thank you for your attention to this urgent matter and for your continued leadership on the well-being of Mississippi families. I am available at your convenience should you wish to discuss this further. Respectfully, Kabir Kareem, Chairman, Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus, State Representative, House District 41. Awesome leadership positioning. Awesome. Great, well-written letter, right to the point. Beautiful. And that's why I wanted to share it with you. Right here on the Literacy Hour. That's how you write a letter. I want to know what you think, though. 601-714-8378. How has losing SNAP benefits affected your family already? Yes, I got the word. They're going to restore a portion of it. Okay. According to a report from WLBT in Mississippi Today, nearly 400,000 Mississippians, or 13% of our state's population, receive food assistance through SNAP. So contrary to popular belief, it's more than Black folks on SNAP. Okay? And ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay? It's all right to have programs that help people when they need help. 2/3 of participants are in families with children, and about 41% are in households with older adults. Or in some cases, the adults have a disability. You see? In 4 Mississippi counties, over 1/3 of the residents rely on the program to purchase food. Be aware now that SNAP beneficiaries must meet income and resource limits. Most able-bodied adults must also meet some work requirements. And the new work requirements for SNAP, they're set to begin next month as a result of the federal budget legislation that President Trump signed into law last summer. The law increases the existing work requirements upper age limit from 54 to 65. And it extends the requirement to people who were previously exempt, like veterans, those facing homelessness, young people aging out of foster care. You got to work. Previously, you were exempt, but the new law says you got to work. If you're able-bodied, the upper limit of you working is being moved from 54 to 65 for this program. Now, there's still a caregiver exemption, but parents must have children younger than 14. It used to be younger than 18. You see, so the only thing constant is change, and we have to stay aware. I realize that these are stressful times for many families. The government shutdown is now is our longest in the country's history, and all of it centers around health insurance. Yeah. By the way, the health insurance marketplace is open. Open enrollment runs from November the 1st through January 15th. Okay, but if people enroll by midnight, December 15th, their coverage will start January 1st. You can apply for coverage online through healthcare.gov if you don't get coverage through your employer, and they call that place the marketplace. If you already have coverage, check your email for the renewal notice. They are going to be giving you some steps on how you can renew. Yes, I know that the prices can be mind-blowing, and I know that they've been elevated here recently. A friend called me yesterday to discuss her options, and she felt so terrible that she wouldn't be able to afford her own health insurance coverage next year. Caller, you're on the air. Thank you for tuning into the Literacy Hour. What's your question or comment this morning? Say that again.
Excuse me?
Say that again. I can't hear you that well. Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to respond to the question that relates to SNAP.
Okay.
It is very, very surprising and amazing to me that all of a sudden the president needs permission from other entities to make a decision. I've never seen that before.
So explain what you mean. You say that he needs permission from other entities to make a decision about SNAP. Tell us more.
You know, he made the remark as though he didn't know he had the authority to do something, to do so, and he requested a ruling from the courts to let him know whether or not he had the authority to do something. Where I've never seen it before, because everything else he does, he seems to do it because he wants to do it with no regard or respect for the law.
Wow, that's powerful. That's a
so
really.
Now that people are starving, all of a sudden he needs an opinion from the courts.
Now that people are starving,
the same courts that he hasn't respected to this day.
Wow, you are engaged.
Just for your consideration for your listeners.
Well, and it's a great point to consider. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing that. Listen, everyone,
more than welcome.
This caller is engaged and very intellectual, I can tell. He didn't share his name, and so I won't either. Sometimes I get this wrong, and I don't like sharing the name that they don't share. But he basically said, you know, it boggles his mind why the president would need to get an opinion from the courts, for example, the very courts that he has not been paying that much attention to on other matters. That's a good point. That's a good point. I hadn't heard that, so I can't comment further about it. That's why I asked him to do so. And I appreciate him for calling in and offering that perspective. You know, I know these prices are elevated regarding this health insurance, okay? If I could, I would establish a free clinic in the place where it's needed most, and I would show up every single day to provide care to people who can't afford it. So for those of you going through, just remember there is help, okay? I'm going to be putting up, at least my team may have already done it, put up the Mississippi assistance programs. We got Jackson food assistance programs, basket food pantry, Good Samaritan Center, Jackson Public Schools has a supper meal program, Jackson Resource Center, the Salvation Army, Jackson Court Food Pantry, Stew Pot, Turning Point. I got a whole 5 pages worth of places where you can get some help, and that's going up on our website, ttsfoundation.org, ttsfoundation.org. You just go there and you look in the literacy hour section for the resources for today, and you're going to see that 5-page list of places, phone numbers, addresses, where you can get some help until they figure this thing out. Also, the 988 mental health crisis line, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, that's still available. And you can call or text that number. The number to the mental health crisis line, again, is 988. Don't ignore suicidal thoughts. Suicide is the ultimate sign of despair. And attempting to end mental and emotional pain, suicide eliminates any chance for a change to take place. for happiness to return. So I don't care how old you are, please dial 988 if you're thinking about harming yourself and you don't have anyone else you can talk to, anyone else whom you can trust. Okay. I do a number of things to be mentally healthy myself. And I'll share more with you on Fourth Tuesdays, which is our Mental Health and Wellness Tuesday. But today, I want to make sure that in light of all of what we're facing, that you are aware of resources that can help you to be mentally well. I talk about having a church home all the time, and I talk about it because it's so important. I know COVID did a number on all of us, made us stay at the house and this and that. But man, it's nothing like fellowshipping with a body of believers. St. Matthew Missionary Baptist Church over on Fontaine Avenue. I mean, just hidden away over there. Never really knew about them. Boy, but you talking about a powerful church. Their motto is no souls left behind. They host a virtual Bible study every Wednesday evening from 6 until 7:30. And I thank God for it, because there are just times when I cannot get up and drive over to City Church. And so the fact that St. Matthew's has his Bible study led by Pastor Reverend Dr. Melvin Collins Sr. is a great thing. And we've been in the book of James for the past month. And whenever the pastor gets ready to close out, God puts a song on my heart. And I'm just so grateful. He doesn't mind that I play the instrumental of the song in the background as he closes out. It's just my way of worship, you know. When the Spirit moves, you just have to move with it. And I love it because the pastor doesn't mind. He doesn't say anything, and neither do the other folks that are joining the call. So if you'd like to join the Bible study any Wednesday starting at 6 p.m., please dial the conference line. It's 267-807-9611. And then enter the PIN number 582929. Now, I know that's a lot of numbers. Don't you worry if you can't remember the numbers. Just play this episode of the Literacy Hour back by going to our YouTube station and select today's episode, okay? Subscribe to the channel so that you will know whenever we are broadcasting. And man, speaking of St. Matthew, their children, and man, I laugh because this blew my mind when I found out now that this church hidden over here on Fontaine Avenue in the midst of stuff, and y'all know what I'm talking about, but just right slap down there in the middle, a beacon of light and hope. We got some twins, the McDavid twins, Caitlin and Jadlyn. They're superstars. These kids scored the highest on the Mississippi Academic Assessment Program proficiency test in reading and math. When I say the highest, listen, Caitlin scored the highest in reading and math, and her brother, he scored the highest in math for all of JPS. And Dr. Eric Green, the superintendent of Jackson Public Schools, he acknowledged and celebrated them during a ceremony at Callaway High School. You see, man, when you have a church home, a family that you can lean on in times of struggle, it means something. I've already, I think, on our Facebook page shared some things with you that St. Matthew's is going to be doing, and maybe some other churches will be doing some things too. And if you are, hey, just let us know about it. But I do know that St. Matthew's is going to be hosting a pre-Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah, the Monday before Thanksgiving. So don't you be dismayed. Don't you worry about, oh, I'm not going to be able to feed my family or this or that and this and the other. Don't you be worried about anything. God has you. He sees you. He knows your name. He knows what you're going through. This too shall pass. We're going to get to the other side of this thing, and we'll be stronger because of it. I just want our babies to stop dying, to have a fighting chance to see their first birthdays. 3,500 children gone. That could have been a president, a teacher, a preacher, and they're gone. Listen, a lot more that I could have shared today. Wanted to tell you about that federal freeze of $660 million of the TRIO program. I wanted to share with you about the recent National Assessment Education progress scores, and how it shows our students need more support, but these are things we already know. I wanted to tell you about the Better Business Bureau Students of Integrity Scholarship. We've talked about it in the past. And all these things will be up on our website. Thank you for tuning in to the Literacy Hour. I want you to tune back in next Tuesday because, man, we got a full show once again. Tell your sister, brother, cousin, all your friends. Visit the Mississippi State Department of Health website, msdh.ms.gov. Visit our website, ttsfoundation.org. Join me right back here next Tuesday, during which time we'll enhance our health literacy and learn more about how we can stay healthy. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day.
For the past 1 hour, you have been listening to the Literacy Hour with Test Taking Solution and your host, Dr. Kentrell Liddell, MD, MBA. We are located at 2104 Thousand Oaks Drive in Jackson, Mississippi. Visit us on the web at www.testtakingsolution.com. Join us each Tuesday from 7 to 8 a.m. for another life-changing conversation here on our podcast live stream and affiliate stations.